Just take some pictures while we're driving along for people to kind of see. So what part of South Africa are we in right now? We're still in Johannesburg, but this would be... Yeah, you can talk. No, I'm talking so that you could describe where we're going, so my family will know what's happening.
No, I thought you were talking to me. I wasn't.
Oh no, I am talking to both you and the video. So.
No, this is Braamfontein. This is the area which is more student accommodation. Universities and some offices.
Universities.
So this is one of the safest part of city center.
Okay. So family, you'll just notice that people just walk in the street and the cars keep on moving. Luckily, I'm not driving today. We talked about my little minor incident yesterday, so I've got a great driver who's giving me a fabulous tour of the city of Johannesburg. We're on our way to Soweto?
Yes, to Soweto.
Right now, which is one of the largest townships.
Yes, the largest township in South Africa.
Yeah. So one of the things you'll notice is that they drive on the wrong side of the street. You'll also notice that I'm in the driver's side. There is no steering wheel here. It's considered the passenger side. It's a little foreign. But I think we're the only ones that drive the other way. As you can see, here comes a car. I just have to trust. Which I am trusting. There's a lot of like BMWs. And yeah, I'm seeing a lot more than I would see kind of in our neck of the woods. You still have BP, right? And hopefully you saw that KFC. Okay, so this is the bridge. Like, you guys will remember I took a picture from one of the buildings over there, and this is a Nelson Mandela. Okay, so I'm starting to realize where I've traveled thus far on our tour today. So I've noticed, like, you see that smoke up there? I've noticed that in different areas. Do you know what that's related to?
You normally burn grass during winter.
Burning grass, okay.
Yeah, that's normal.
Okay. You'll see that they have a lot of, I'm going to call it graffiti, but it actually looks really pretty. Is this considered graffiti here? When you have, yeah, okay.
Yes.
I should have been doing this the whole time, just taking all your information in. So I have to do a lot of writing, folks, to tell you everything that I saw and have seen thus far, but so once again, that's the Nelson Mandela Bridge over there, and we are on what I would call a freeway.
Yes, it is a freeway.
And you'll see it's at 80 kilometers an hour. When I was on this yesterday, I was driving 60 and everyone was passing me really quickly. So I had to speed it up to get moving.
So you look on the right, this is an Indian business community.
So there's a lot of people here from India.
Oriental Plaza over there, there's little shopping mall. Further that way, that's Chinese, China malls and all their businesses.
So would you say that the different communities that have come to South Africa kind of live separate? So you said the Indian and Chinese live over there to the...
Still mainly like that, yes. They still come to where the others are living. Even though now it's getting mixed.
Yeah.
The rich are mixing, but
the poor are not.
The poor, they're still...
Okay.
Yeah.
So he just said the rich are mixing, but those that are still poor are staying relatively within their own communities, which makes sense. So I'm going to stop the video for right now. We'll come back.
Theme park, which is called Gold Reef City.
Okay, so over here to your right, you're going to see an amusement park. Now, you all know how crazy I am about amusement parks. And Jamil, if you were here, we would definitely try to ride that roller coaster that's over there. Looks like there's several loops and all that kind of good stuff. But not this trip.
So we go in there when we come back from the township.
So is that a tower like a power tower or?
It was a power tower, yes, but it was closed down.
You'll see some. So would you call these kinds of homes over in this area more like the middle class area?
On the left, this is the rich.
Rich area, okay.
So the township actually started in the city center.
Oh, okay.
When gold was discovered here in 1886, a lot of people came in this area to come and work in the mines, and majority were not getting paid well, so they end up building the biggest slum in the city center.
Okay.
So as you know, the slums, they don't have running water, proper toilets, and they end up having an outbreak, which was the pest disease, the bubonic plague, between 1900 and 1903. So the government of the time, who were the English, they removed everyone who was living in the slum and they burned the slum down. Okay. So they took those people to a farm which was about 25 kilometers southwest of the city. So that's when the township started. It didn't actually start because of people's color of the skin, but it was just the help that government was giving to people at the time. Okay. So now when the apartheid government started, they now remove the black people who were living in the city center to where the other group were, where the other black people were living. So that's when the township started to grow bigger and bigger. So in 1963, there were no other black person who was supposed to be living in the city center.
So all of them have been moved out of the city center into this area.
In 1963, everyone was out at the time. So this name was then been found, Southwestern Townships.
So that's what Soweto stands for, Southwestern Township.
Yes. So in Soweto, there's about 30 suburb names. Under Soweto. But as the township is still growing, government is still building free houses for the poor people, and even the banks are still buying the empty land and build houses for the middle class and the rich to buy. So those areas that have been built, they just don't give them new names. They just extend those old names. So today we have about 80 sections all in the township, but we're still counting because there's still new housing being built. So this part, as this is the posh part of the township, or one of the posh part of the township, it is called Deep Kloof. But we nickname this as a Deep Kloof Expensive because some of the houses here, they worth over 2 million rands. So for that kind of a money, as average salary in the township is about 3,500 rand. So that's very money.
That's a lot of money.
Yes. So even Winnie Mandela owned a house in this part of the township. So we have the other parts of the townships that a bit same as this or more posher than this, and they will have names like Beverly Hills.
Okay.
Millionaires Parks and the others. So American names somewhere, yeah?
Oh, really?
Do you have Beverly Hills?
We do have Beverly Hills, yes.
So in 1913, after the English and Africans united and governed South Africa, they came up with a law which was called the Native Land Act. So that law was to stop blacks from owning land around the cities. So these people, they are the first group of blacks who managed to own land in the 80s, before even apartheid was been
Abolished,
yes.
Yeah.
So these are the people who have good education, good jobs, and some of them, they now run their own businesses. They were given mortgage in the 80s. So now some of them, they finished paying these houses.
Oh yeah, this
So
is
that's
beautiful.
why they putting some money to expand their houses. So we have over 100 millionaires now, which comes from the township, which are totally blacks. So some, they made their money fair and square because of the hard work on education. I mean, because they have good education. And some, they lean on government.
So how many people would live in this section of Johannesburg?
In the township, we have about 4 million people.
4 million people.
Yes, we have the rich, ordinary middle class, lower middle class, and the poorest of the poor. So some of these rich people who lived here, or who some of them still live here, they move out of the city center and go and buy more expensive houses, like some of the houses that we drove past
Earlier, yeah.
So, but they don't sell their houses here. They keep the houses here. They will be living, maybe the parents, if they still have parents, or maybe their children or extended families in these houses. And they will be using these houses more often on the weekends, some of them, when they want to do, like, throw the wild parties. That's where they come, because they cannot full blast music in those expensive houses over there.
Gotcha.
The neighbors, they complain, they call police. So back here, full blast music the way you want, the neighbor will just come and join you for free beer. And even for some who still follow African religion, they come back here and slaughter animals to communicate with their ancestors. Especially they will be slaughtering goats, especially the Nguni tribe. So that's where they come to do those rituals. And even as the funerals, we slaughter cows every time if someone is dead. So they will be done back in the township, slaughter them. And some who lives in the suburbs, they will take the body, carcass, dead. They won't be killing it on the other side.
Okay.
So now it's easy to say this is the rich and the poor is on the other side. But as this was the black area, we didn't have any rich black during that time.
Yeah.
Because even on the qualified as a teacher, for instance, you will be paid according to color of your skin. The Indians will be getting better salaries, and there will be the colors in the middle, and the blacks will be always on the bottom. The salaries will be always lowest. So now, after 1948, when the government was now pushing the non-white people out of the city center, they will be given house. And you'll be given house if you married.
If you're married, okay.
Yes, and you married in like a Western marriages. You sign in magistrate offices. Then you'll be given house. Your marriage is recognized.
Okay.
But if you married in an African way, because in an African way you just pay lobola, you call it dowry, something.
Okay. A dowry.
Dowry, yes.
Yeah.
You pay that money to your in-laws, and then you live with the wife, and she doesn't have rights. So she's in your house to have babies. If she doesn't want to have babies, you can marry another one.
Okay.
Yeah,
to have babies.
Yes. So those marriages are not recognized by the then government. So those people, they were not given houses, and they were segregated with their families because they were not married according to the government. So if my wife wasn't working, then she need to vacate the city, because the government, they didn't want anyone who was not working in the city. So people who will be here, there will be people who are working. So me as a worker around the city alone now, my wife has been moved to the homelands, to the villages outside Johannesburg. So I will be forced to rent a bed in this area.
In this area, okay.
So this will be called the hostels, a temporary accommodation for the migrant workers.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but today, those people who lives there, they now brought their families.
Okay.
But the conditions are bad, because now they separate those rooms, those big rooms, with curtains or furnitures. So there's no privacy still. And they still don't have electricity. But they stole electricity from the street lights. Conditions are bad. So the government in 1997, they classified us according to what we earn. Anyone who was earning below 3,500 Rand a month was classified as the poor. So as a poor person, you're entitled to a free house, free healthcare, subsidized water and electricity. So now these people who lives here now, their families back in the villages, they're given houses.
Okay.
But for them, as they now put on those houses as the head of the house, they cannot qualify for another houses here. So they need to rent. So government is building the better houses over there. If you look.
Oh yeah, yeah, back there.
Yeah. So those are new houses. If they want to move in there, they can pay rent, and this will be the 2-bedroom house. If they want to bring their families and live with them, you can rent the 2 bedrooms down there. But people, they don't want to pay rent. This is a bit high for them. So the government want to get rid of all these long buildings. They want only the better housing. But people.
So the long buildings behind the better housing down here.
Yes.
Okay.
They want to get rid of them. In some hostels, they've been demolished already. So, but some of the people who used to live in those, they don't move into the new houses, because you need to pay something up to 2,500 Rand a month. So they don't want to pay that. They just rather live in bad areas, save as much
money as they can. Yeah.
And send back home. So that is why you see some of the people, or some of the slums are still growing, because people, they don't want to pay rent. So we'll be visiting one of the slums in the township. So bear in mind that not everyone who lives in that area is poor.
Yeah. Okay.
So there are even people who are earning good money, but as they're not original from Johannesburg, they don't want to go somewhere and pay rent.
Doing some work.
So now the people who were married were given houses, and they call those houses the matchbox houses. So these are the houses on the right. So during that time, they were not supposed to do anything on the house, because it wasn't yours. If you lose your job, you need to go away from the city, because you're not working. So this will be a typical
matchbook house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there will be all this, and you're not supposed to plaster or do anything, because it wasn't yours, and you're not sure
if you're going to be able to stay in the house.
Yes. So now, after 1997, they were given the title deeds to those houses, so they own them today. That's why some of them have been expanded. And they now taking care of their houses. They clean, especially in front of their houses. So this is a very clean township compared to what it was during apartheid time. But you look on the left, they're still renting. They just litter everywhere if they can.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that that's because there's no like garbage or anything pickup or anything like that.
There is.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, there is the government truck, local government truck. Every week they come and collect. So even the government has employed people who clean up the streets, who come and collect rubbish on the side, and they put them in a plastic, and the truck will come and pick them up and go and take them to the area. That hospital was called Baragwana Hospital. And it was a 500-bed hospital during that time. A military hospital. And this is the Red Brick Hospital.
Okay.
So this hospital, after the war, it was used for any South Africans. And today, this hospital is the largest hospital in the Southern Hemisphere, with about 3,000 beds today.
Oh, wow.
It has about 11 to 12,000 staff that works here. A couple of hundreds of international students coming here every year for internships. So this hospital caters for plus minus 300,000 outpatients
A year.
in a month.
In a month.
Yes. So all the poor people, they come here for free health care.
And you'll look across the street, folks, and you're going to see McDonald's.
That's the taxi rank. That's McDonald's sponsoring this.
Okay, so it's a rink, but sponsored by McDee's. So this is all part of the hospital back here.
This is part of the hospital. This is still part of the hospital. So we call this month, August, a Women Month.
Okay, so like it's a Women's Health Month?
Not just health, just women's. Because on August the 9th in 1959, the women of South Africa, including some of white women, Helen Suzman at the time, who were against apartheid, they marched from here to Pretoria,
okay,
the main office, the main government office, against the past laws. So the main woman on the black was Lillian Goy. You see the name on the top over there?
Yes.
Yes. She